What's up, Magic fans? Welcome to episode 24 and a half of Orlando Magic UK's Penny for Your Thoughts. We'll come to the reasoning why it's 24 and a half shortly. Before I begin, though, let's welcome my usual comrades, Paul and Mikey. How are we both?
All good here, matey. All good here. Like you say, handed you the title today as an England rugby fan. Not sure I like that, but there we go.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
But you're
Mikey,
the only,
how are you, mate?
Yeah, you're the only Welshman that doesn't care about rugby, as I know.
Yeah, but it's nice to win something, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Especially at the expense of the English AG.
Oh yeah, gotta be done. So we're delighted to be joined today by a UK Magic fan, Neil Piper. How are we, Neil?
Doing good, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
You're welcome, mate. You're welcome. We've known each other since 2015, I think it is, Neil. So tell us, before we get to business, a little bit of introduction on yourself. When and how did you become a fan of the Magic?
Well, it's a bit of a strange one, really. I got into basketball mid-90s. Obviously, it was starting to grow over here. I've been to see the Sheffield Sharks British basketball team, which obviously not quite the same as the NBA, but still that was starting to grow in popularity. And I remember asking my mum for a basketball jersey for my birthday. So she said that I needed to pick one out, because obviously she didn't know anything about it, really. So I went into my local town. There was this strange shop there. Sort of sold lots of weird things like workmen's uniforms and like army gear.
I was wondering where that was going.
Yeah. And it had this sort of one wall that had, I don't know if you remember the starter jackets back in the 90s, like, you had your big, bright, colourful jackets, and they had obviously the Chicago Bulls standard for that time. They had a Hornets one. And then they had 3 jerseys up on the wall. They had Michael Jordan's Bulls jersey, had a Larry Johnson Hornets jersey, and then the third one was a Penny Hardaway black pinstriped Magic jersey. So I saw that and I thought, wow, I'm definitely having that. And from there, sort of, obviously, I was about 11, 12-ish, so knew a few places in the States, Orlando being the main one, and thought, well, I'll start to follow them. And I remember checking the scores coming through on teletext. They used to change around about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be waiting for the scores to refresh from the previous night to see if the Magic had won.
Page 383?
Something like that, yeah. It was weird. I remember there was one day where it just didn't update from the previous night at all. So I don't, this was obviously way pre-internet times. So yeah, and it's just sort of grown from there to now where I'm a fully fledged, very, very loyal for my sins, fully paid up Magic fan.
Good man. And of course, we met back in 2015, wasn't it? We were waiting to see Matt Keller, who sat alongside Paul Porter for a game against the Chicago Bulls, wasn't it? And my wife and I, and your wife and yourself, we met each other. And we're like, "You're British," and it was a bit of a shock to the system, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I mean, Matt was. It's actually a bit of a funny story about how I met Matt, because me and my sister were waiting on the concourse of the old Amway Arena during one. I think we went in maybe 2006-ish, and Matt was an intern for the Magic at the time, and he and his friend came up and said, "Oh, we really need someone to do an on-court game during the first time out. Would you be up for it?" So we were obviously like, "Oh yeah, definitely." It was a bit of an unfair game, really, because the game involved me and my sister against this other pair, and we had to take these big jigsaw pieces and solve this logo, and the other pair had to do the same, except we got the Magic logo and the other pair got the logo of Smoky Bones Bar and Grill. So obviously we knew the Magic logo relatively well. So it was a bit of an unfair contest, really. But yeah, so obviously knew Matt since then, and he's arranged so many things for me there, sort of watching the guys warm up and going on the court after the game for post-game photos and things. So Matt's been great. And then obviously we met, and I know that you've gotten to know Matt since then as well.
Yeah. And of course, the Magic won that game, 105-103 against the Chicago Bulls. So we got to see, Pau Gasol, Joakim Noah, Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler, Nikola Mirotic. I think it was an Oladipo shot with 2 seconds to go.
Yeah, it's funny, actually, because I had picked you and Amy out in the crowd, and after Oladipo hit that three, sort of turned to my left, and I could just see you going completely crazy after the shot. It was quite funny, really.
Sounds about right. So we'll get to a few more questions with you, Neil, if you don't mind. We'll just do the usual Magic roundup for the week. So I'll quickly whiz through this and get your thoughts on a couple of topics. So as we all know, since our last recording, All-Star Weekend has been. The Skills Challenge, Nick Vucevic defeated Robert Covington in the quarterfinal and Chris Paul in the semi-final before eventually bowing out to Domantas Sabonis in the final in what was a very close final, and it could have gone either way. Just if you put less arc on it, Vuce could have gone through to win it. And then the All-Star game itself, Team LeBron won the game 170-150 with Giannis Antetokounmpo capturing the MVP award, going 16 for 16 from the field, which is an All-Star record, on his way to 35 points. Vucevic registered 5.7 rebounds in 13 minutes of action. So he got on the scoreboard like he wanted. Mikey, your thoughts on the weekend? Or the day, really?
Yeah, the evening. It was good. I mean, the main thing was just to see Vooch out there for a second appearance. I don't think any of us were really expecting anything big from him. The All-Star game's more about guards, isn't it? And hoisting threes from half court. And I think we've seen Steph with an alley-oop and Chris Paul during the game. I was disappointed Vooch didn't win the skills challenge. The one interesting tidbit from that, if you guys didn't notice, in the first 2 rounds when he beat Covington and Chris Paul, he was on the left-hand side of the court. And then when he played Sabonis in the final, he was actually switched to the right-hand side. So whether that threw him off a little bit, don't know. But he had 3 shots to win the skills challenge and didn't come off. And I said it on the Magic sound off the other day. I just wanted to see him shoot threes because that was the only way he was really going to get on the board. And he shot 1 of 5, which wasn't the best of games. But yeah, it was good to see him out there, and he represented the Magic well. So hopefully he'll be back next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to our 2 regular season games. So on Thursday night, we faced the Miami Heat. Terrence Ross, Evan Fournier, Cole Anthony, James Ennis remained sidelined. However, Aaron Gordon did return on limited minutes. He registered 9 points on 3 of 8 shooting in 14 minutes. The game was competitive throughout. We hung around, however, defending the 3-point line and executing down the stretch cost us. Strong contributions from Vucevic with 24 points and 17 rebounds, Bacon with 21, Carter Williams 17 to lead the Magic, but we lost 111-103. And then last night we played the San Antonio Spurs on a back-to-back in Texas. The Magic used their 17th different lineup for this one, with Aaron Gordon being rested. Started Michael Carter-Williams, Dwayne Bacon, Chuma Okeke, Al-Farouq Aminu, and Nick Vucevic. AG, Ross, Fournier, Ennis still out, and the team limiting AG's minutes. So, yeah, we're just taking it careful with him. The Magic started off well in Q1, scoring 29, but only managed 48 points the rest of the way. Vucevic led the effort with 26 and 9. Bacon was the only one to score double digits, registering 15. whilst Okeke made his first start, scoring 8. So, Paul and Neil, thoughts on the 2 regular season games that we've had in the last 2 nights? Neil?
Well, the game against the Heat was pretty good in the sense that we hung around. But out of the 2, especially when you're on a back-to-back like that, to me, if you don't end up winning that one, the Spurs one was never going to be won. I think it's just hard to evaluate the team with the injuries where they're at currently. And it's actually, you're seeing that the Heat are starting to get players back, and they've kind of managed to turn things around. But I thought the guys put in a decent effort. But it is, it's one of these things where when you're going to get scores where I think they lose by 30 something to the Spurs. So I think
27 it was, 104-77.
So I think that it's just when the second part of the schedule came out, and then you see that they're back playing the Heat at home Sunday night, and then 3 days off, then they have to travel to New York and then back home for a back-to-back, I think, again with the Nets. And I just think that the schedule isn't helping them, the injuries isn't helping them. They're sort of doing the best that they can. It's just one of those things. I think I'm sort of counting down towards the end of the season now, really.
Yeah. And Paul?
I don't think Phil Jackson on his finest day could get our team to win at the minute. It's no criticism. It's just what it is. You look last night, 4 starters, your leading scorer from the bench, solid role player in Ennis, and your backup point guard are all absent. Well, I'm sorry, you've took the heart of the team. After that, you are talking about players that were expected to be playing backup minutes, who are playing huge minutes for the team. Dwayne Bacon, Michael Carter-Williams are both stepping up and doing a good job. Although, like Mikey said to me earlier today, wasn't over impressed with Michael Carter-Williams last night. Wasn't his best game for us. But, look, both games for me, the problem that we had was too many live ball turnovers, which allowed for easy points. And the number of fouls that we gave in both games was way above our season average. And that gave, again, easy points. It put us in trouble. It was good to see Aaron Gordon return for 14 minutes. He acquitted himself quite well in that period of time. Vooch was superb. Miami, I was quite happy with the performance. But we seemed to just lose that ability to fight towards the end as Jimmy Butler put the Heat on his shoulders and carried them. He was fantastic on down the stretch. Last night, the Spurs, ouch. It was one of those games. Right, the stat that Dante came out with on I think it was his moment with Dante, about the time demands on the trip, on this road trip, was incredible. That you're looking at a maximum of, if you were lucky, 6 hours sleep from the point of landing to then having to get up to go and have COVID testing. That's not allowing a team to play at any sort of peak performance level, and that's going to impact besides your injuries. So it's what it is. Like Neil said, we're counting down to the end of the season and seeing where we end up. It's what it is.
Yeah. So I have a bit of news that occurred this week. So we had a preview before the season of the earned jersey. So the Magic announced that the earned jersey will be worn on 3 outings this year, which are the games on April the 9th versus Indiana, April the 11th against the Bucks, and April 12th against the San Antonio Spurs. If you guys haven't seen it, this jersey is awarded to all 15 teams who make the postseason last year. Features the Magic's primary icon ball within a swoosh, front and center, with a cascade of stars within a blue stripe along the side of the jerseys and shorts. The jerseys will be available for pre-sale at the Magic Team Shop at Amway Center or online at orlandomagicshop.com starting on March the 18th. Do you like it?
Did you write that, Geraint?
No, I took that off the Magic website. Too professional for me, that.
Did it say swoosh as well? I like the way you said that.
Swoosh.
That is just not a Welsh word, is it?
No, it's not.
I bet you've never said that before in your life.
No. Swoosh. That's what we say in Wales. Do you guys like it?
I do. Yeah, I think it's a nice shirt. I don't particularly do white shirts, but I like that one. Yeah, I think it looks good.
Cool. moving on then. If you haven't seen it yet, the Magic have a program called Magic Sound Off. So please remember to tune into the weekly fan interaction platform called Magic Sound Off, hosted by Mackenzie Thurkill, and that's available on YouTube. It could be found on the Magic social media accounts. Mikey's guested twice on episodes 1 and 2. And I joined them today for episode 3, and I think Paul's slated to be in for one of the next ones. So check it out.
5.
It's a bit of fun and a bit of good banter. Moving on, the Lakeland Magic, G League champions. It's nice to say champions, isn't it? So on Thursday night, the G League final took place between our very own Lakeland Magic and the Delaware Bluecoats. Lakeland won the game and the title by way of a 97-78 victory. Devin Kennedy led the way and won the Most Valuable Player award with 22 points, but all 10 players checked into the game and registered at least 5 points. So a good, strong team balance there. Other players that you might be aware of that played, Kareem Manet, John Tesk, Robert Franks, and Andrew Rousey. The team was defended superbly, smothering their opponents throughout the playoffs, and won games by double digits. Shot the ball extremely well. Been really impressed watching their recaps and the highlights. And I think one of the games they set a G League record by hitting 23 3-point shots, which is very impressive. So credit's got to be given to the coaching staff and building that sort of academy. So your thoughts, guys, on a G League championship?
Go on,
yeah, well, I mean, go on. Okay.
Go on.
Oh, go on,
Sorry,
Neil.
Neil.
Oh, sorry,
Go on,
no,
Neil.
okay. Well, I mean, I think it when was it not Alex Martins who said that we'd win the championship by 2030? I hope he wasn't talking about this one, but it's still an achievement. So that's a good thing. I think exactly as you said.
That's really tickled you, Paul, wasn't it?
It has,
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's really good.
I think that huge credit. First of all, let's not forget that every G League player that's gone in there has been in the bubble environment similar to the NBA players were. However, they're being paid a fraction of their money. I'm not saying it's a hard life, but I'm saying, well done to those guys for sacrificing that and for serving up some pretty decent basketball. I think you've got to give credit to Stan Heath and the coaching staff and the players, obviously, for pulling out. So I think they were the 6th seed going into the going into the playoffs. I know it was only a knockout tournament, so it's not like you were playing best of 7 or anything. So really anything can happen. But yeah, it is nice to see Magic and champions in the same sentence. My only small gripe, and this isn't to do with this year's team, just generally, is I think that we've got to remember that the whole point of the Lakeland Magic should be to develop players for the Orlando Magic. Now, for me, through Rob Hennigan's time, I know it wasn't the Lakeland Magic back then, it was the Erie Bayhawks that was our affiliate team, but back in his time and through the Weltman and the Hammond times, I can only really think of Ken Birch, who spent any time in the developmental league, whether it was a D League or the G League, who's actually come onto the roster and done anything in the NBA. So I'd like to see, and I know we've had some guys come up. I remember the likes of Geraint and Marcus George Hunt and people like that who signed a 10-day and then went away playing overseas now. I'd like to, I hope what comes from this is one or two, especially if we're going to continue losing this season, let's get one or two of these younger guys up from Lakeland to play for the big team. One example would be, obviously, Chesham Randall's currently our point guard, backing up MCW. And I think he's 27 or 28. Now, I'm not saying that your development ends at that age, but to me, I'd be looking at someone like Devin Kennedy, who's I think only 23, obviously had a good season in the G League bubble. Should he not be brought in? Let's see what he can do, maybe one for the future, and maybe bring up one or two other guys and see. Because I just think that yeah, well done. The championship, absolutely brilliant for them. But in terms of if it doesn't benefit the big team, then it's almost losing its point, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Mikey?
Yeah. I'm going to backtrack a little bit, because if you look at what the Lakeland Magic have done since 2017, when the Magic bought the Bayhawks and moved them to Lakeland, I nearly got that wrong then. That first season they finished second and lost in the first round. 2018-19 they finished first and lost in the conference finals, and then last year they were first before the season got cancelled due to COVID. This season, all right, they changed the format, and they normally play 50 games in the regular season. They only played 15, and obviously condensed the bubble down just to try and get a season in. They've rapidly improved year on year of what they've been doing, and I just think I agree with what Neil's saying about bringing some of these younger players through. I mean, Devin Kennedy, Kareem Mane, John Tesk, and there's one other that's I forgot off the top of my head, Robert Franks, all were part of this Magic pre-season roster. So they have had a little bit of a taste, and obviously we were expecting a little bit more without the injuries this season. But I think the part of the thing with the Lakeland Magic is they want that team playing with the same sort of structure, the same sort of schemes that the Orlando Magic play with, so that if you do call up these players that might get that opportunity, they already kind of know where they should fit in and amongst this roster. I think it's great. I mean, they've only been there. They've only been in Lakeland for 3 years, and they've gone and won a championship. They made the conference finals the year before last. Yeah, we just want to see one of the two of these players get given a chance, especially the second half of the season. Devin Kennedy's definitely got to be up near the top of that list. So it'd be interesting to see what the Magic do with some of these players on the roster. But yeah, good times, happy days.
Paul?
Yeah, I think it's time for us to have a number 30 on the roster in Canada, definitely. What more's he got to do to prove it that he's worth a chance? He's played really well in the bubble. I suppose bonus for us now that the G League bubble is over, we get Kareem Mane back, which at least it's another fit body, so that's a bonus. But they've done fantastically well. I can only voice what the guys have already said, and completely agree about bringing people through. I was over there in Orlando at this time in 2018, and we were similarly hit by injuries at that point. We'd got Aaron Gordon out, we'd got Evan Fournier out, Terence Ross, Jonathan Isaac went down whilst I was over there, and if memory serves me right, you were seeing lots of time with Rodney Purvis. Ken Birch was playing. I forget who was coming on and doing the point guard side of things. Wes Iwundu had spent some time, I think, in the G League that season as well. Was he on a two-way at that point? And they were playing really, really well. They showed heart, they showed hustle, and they tried every minute that they were given. I think you've got to look at giving people the opportunity to prove that they can do something for you on a bigger stage. So yeah, fully support.
Jonathan Isaac also spent some time playing for Lakeland as well a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So they have used them, and I think it's a lot easier with them just down the road than when they were playing up in Pennsylvania when they were there. But yeah, let's get Devin Kennedy on the Orlando Magic.
That's
absolutely
right. Time for a plug. Apologies. So if you're looking to buy the new City Edition Magic jersey, which I believe NBA EU are having in at the end of this month, please don't forget to use our affiliate links to NBA EU and Fanatics for all your Orlando Magic, NBA, NFL, and sports apparel needs. And remember to use the 10% discount we've got, which is Magic UK 10. And all the affiliate links can be found on our social media pages. So here we go. Time to speak to Neil. Neil, you reside in Doncaster. You're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, and more importantly, you're an Orlando Magic fan. He told me not to say about the Sheffield
Yeah, we're
Wednesday
about
thing.
to say. And there ends the podcast.
So what are your thoughts, Neil, on the current team and roster, and how far could a healthy roster have gone this season?
Well, I think we're in a bit of a strange situation, really, because I kind of think that my excitement level overall is still relatively high, but since the Fultz injury, it's just got to be paused for a few months. Because I think what we saw at the start of this season, granted it was an easier schedule, but with the 4-0 start and then the 6-2 start I think we really started to see, especially with Fultz coming on as that primary ball handler and the guy initiating the offense, is for the first time guys started to fit into those proper roles, and that was even without JI playing. So rather than having Evan run the pick and roll constantly with Vooch, he was shooting more threes, he was cutting to the basket more, and Fultz was being given, I think with DJ having moved on, Fultz had been given much more responsibility. So obviously then Fultz got injured and everything changed. It kind of pushed people into these roles that isn't what you wanted. So whereas I think Cole Anthony's looked promising, you don't really want him starting and playing 35 minutes a game as a rookie, especially one who hasn't had a full off-season summer league and training camp and all that. And then I think some of the lineups that we've had to trot out. I mean, the lineup last night against the Spurs, there was a few earlier in the season on the last West Coast trip where we've got about 5 centres and 1 guard, and it's just a nightmare to watch. And but then when you think around the league, I mean, if we accept that Vooch is our best player, he's been an ever present this season. But we've pretty much lost players 2, 3, 4, 5. You could argue 6 and 7 in terms of likes of Isaac Fultz. Fournier's missed a lot of time. AG's missed a lot of time. So I think that I'm quite happy almost to lose the majority of the rest of this season, get a high draft pick in what's supposed to be a very good draft. But this is with the caveat that these guys come back healthy next season, because, JI, I'm desperate for him to come back and play well. And I know we've given him this 4-year deal, but, he hasn't really yet proven that he can stay healthy. Fultz, I don't think he'll be back till the new year, if you think about the timeline of his injury. So I think that excitement level wise, I am still feeling good about the future. And it's interesting now with the trade deadline coming up, you can see there's a lot of teams are sniffing around our guys if we're sort of going to have a fire sale. And I would argue, well, to me, a guy like Vooch is the perfect centre for someone like Fultz to play with. He's on a deal that goes down each season in terms of its monetary value. AG can be that forward. Can he play with JI? We haven't really had enough evidence of that yet. I believe that they can do. So I think that we've got to let things kind of ride out, accept this season for what it is, be thankful that none of us have been allowed to travel over there to watch it, and then just hope that we come back next season stronger.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Mikey?
Yeah, listening to you talk, who's your favourite player of this current roster? Is it Fultz? I'm getting a hint.
Well, I do like Fultz, but I think overall, this is not necessarily all for his play on the court, but I have to say MCW is probably my favourite player. That's more because of where he's come from, a guy who was essentially out of the league. And then we gave him a 10-day deal. He did well, gave him another one, and he managed to get that back into a sort of a 2-year deal. And when you think, for a guy who was Rookie of the Year and people thought it was going to be the next big thing, he's come along really, really well. I love the energy that he brings. However, I will say, not at point guard. He's a shooting guard for me now.
Yeah, there's too much being asked of him at the moment. I
said this to you, Paul,
didn't I?
Absolutely. We all agree.
Not a good passer. And last night, well, that's the reason we're in this predicament, because we've got players that are playing out of their depth, and there's too much being asked of them at the moment. Who's your favourite all-time Magic player?
It's got to be Penny. Massive, huge Penny fan. He's the sort of guy that I followed when I was younger, and obviously first jersey as well. So yeah, definitely him.
Good times. Have you got any standout highlights or memories being a Magic fan? I know you've had a few trips to Orlando over the years.
Yeah, I think that probably the 09 finals run stands out, just because I think when you, obviously I know that you guys have been over for the playoffs, and it's just a different kettle of fish in terms of the atmosphere and banners up around the city and people like talking to you when you've got your Magic gear on and things like that. So yeah, that 09 finals run, also because everybody because I was over there for the very start of it, and everybody, like all the TV adverts were Kobe versus LeBron. Everybody wanted those guys in the finals, and we just played spoiler. No one gave us any chance to beat the Celtics in Game 7, and we did it. No one gave us any chance to beat the Cavs, and we almost blew them out 4-0. If it wasn't for that LeBron game winner, I think that we would have gone and done that. So yeah, just a fabulous time. Just a shame that Courtney Lee missed that layup, and I think it was
a goaltend.
It was a goaltend. You're absolutely right, Geraint. Yeah, it was.
So we know the Magic Rushmore is pretty much set with Dwight, Shaq, Penny, and T-Mac. But who would you say is your favourite? What would you put together as your favourite Magic starting five? So favourite players. So it doesn't have to be best players, but your favourite players throughout the years. Sorry.
Yeah, so obviously Penny, who I've spoken about, and then T-Mac's got to be in there as well. Rashard, Lewis, JJ, Redick could be my 4. So it's actually funny because somebody asked me this question about a week or so ago, and I've always known what my top 4 are, but that 5th one, there's been a few guys. So because Geraint sent me this as a question a couple of days ago, I thought, right, I really need to nail it down now. So I'm going to go for Daryl Armstrong as my 5th. Just a guy who brought brilliant energy. Again, someone who probably shouldn't really been in the league to begin with. And I love. I don't know if you guys have seen any of his interviews when he was being brought into the Magic Hall of Fame. He was on a couple of podcasts, and he just cried every time he talks about that Heart and Hustle team. He just bursts into tears, and him and Bo Outlaw sort of reminisce. It just shows how much those guys cared. And I like that it kind of harkens back to a time in the NBA where it wasn't all about teaming up and trying to win. It was about, I want to beat you, Yeah.
So you're playing Rashard as your stretch 5?
I'm playing a Golden State Warriors type offense. Let's win by 150, 140 type. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
So what's yours then, Paul? Because you obviously haven't been following the Magic quite as long as we have. So what's your 5?
Right. Well, full well who my point guard's going to be. I'm going for DJ because I just love the guy. I think he was great.
I thought you were going to go with Melvin Fraser Jr. at the point guard.
He's probably going to be my 6th man. Yeah, it's hard because do I go with what I've since I've been a fan, or do I go with history, where obviously T-Mac has got to be in there at that point. You're not far off then picking the outstanding 5. But if we're going on,
you've met him, so you can have that one.
Oh, okay, then T-Mac's in, mate. Then T-Mac's in because the guy, absolute gent. If I can have that, then Nick can go in as well.
True. Nick and Bo.
Jeff
Turner.
To be fair, you can put a decent 5 out on the players I've met. Mate, I'd probably bring Tobias in there. I think the guy was quality. Vooch is an obvious for the modern age. Yeah, something around that, mate. Off the top of my head.
G, so you're similar to Neil's? To Neil, sorry.
Penny, Nick, obviously, T-Mac.
Shocker.
That's a shocker. The forward position I found quite hard. There's a couple I like, but I like a couple of unsung heroes. It could have been Ryan Anderson, Rashard Lewis, Horace Grant. But I go with Pat Garrity. Just liked how he spaced the floor. Just, blue collar guy. And then at centre, he took us to the to the NBA Finals in 2009. Whilst being a fan, and I'm not picking Shaquille, so I'll go with Dwight Howard.
And I'm going to go with the same.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the same 5, except I'm playing Jameer over Penny, just because I didn't start following the Magic till 2002. So he's
You
before.
put Pat Garrity in?
No, sorry, Rashard. So I'm going Dwight, Rashard, T-Mac, JJ, and Jameer. That'll be my 5. So there we go.
Cool.
So Neil, favourite
Yes.
jersey then? I'm reckoning that there's a possibility that you've already told us which one it is.
Yeah, how about, yeah. Well, to be honest with you, any of the pinstripe era, I just think, not only do I think they're the best Magic jerseys, I think they're the best NBA jerseys. Call me biased, but I just think that the black and blue pinstripes were fantastic. Look, and I think I read when we brought the blue ones back a couple of years ago that we were only going to bring them back on anniversary years, and I hope that's not the case, because I think we ought to bring them back. But
I think there's a rule you can only bring them back like every 5 or 6 years. Something silly like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you're obviously right, because if you had to put your Penny jersey next to a Bulls jersey and a Charlotte Hornets jersey, clearly it is the best, isn't it? So
absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Where do you stand on the City jerseys, by the way? On last season's, this season's, or the space-themed ones? What were your thoughts on them?
I think they're getting better with time. I think I've sort of liked each one more with each one that's come out. I really enjoyed last year's one. I think it was just like completely different, kind of with the new court and all that sort of thing. And then I think this year's one took it to the next step in terms of, wow, this is like quite striking. I don't know whether they'll be bold enough to go for the all orange, maybe with white pinstripes or something like that. I think that might be a little bit too bold, but we'll see. But no, I think that they're nice, and it's nice to do something that's completely different from your normal colour scheme as well.
So, G, you want us to wear them nice yellow ones that the Heat have just rolled out? I mean, what was it you described them as? Urine gold or something?
No comment. They look too similar to the Lake ones.
Can I be controversial? I don't think they were that bad. Am I the only one? Awkward silence.
You're by yourself, mate.
No.
You're on an island.
I just thought they looked like Pacers ones. They just look like Indiana Pacers ones to me.
Yeah. But as a Leeds fan, I can't hate yellow jerseys, can I? It's our second kit.
Oh, while we're on the jersey topic, can I just mention when we were talking about the earned jerseys, I've got one little bugbear with this, because you guys know I'm a bit of a perfectionist and a bit of an OCD.
No, really?
That I like the new earned jerseys, but have you noticed the star on the waistband of the shorts? It's not even square on. They've got it twisted at an angle, so it's not.
I've seen it. Yeah, it's strange. You're right.
Why have they done that? And then they did wallpapers the other day for Wallpaper Wednesday, and they've done the same on that. So that's obviously a new thing they're going to go with just to wind me up.
Get with the times, Mikey.
Oh, mate, I can't be doing with it. The point should be at the top.
I only ever buy the jerseys, so I never look at the shorts. I look at, do I like the jersey, and that's it.
Are we a fan of the ball logo on jerseys? Because I don't mind it.
I like it, yeah.
The main ball logo.
Yeah.
I'd sooner have Orlando or Magic on there myself, but it's not bad.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, back to the questions. Neil, any experiences of meeting players or former players?
Yeah, there's been quite a few. We're trying to think. Well, trying to narrow it down to the best ones. Nick Anderson, who I know you guys might be talking about later, I met him, and I was over there with my now wife, and it was my sister's birthday back in the UK, and he very kindly recorded a video message saying happy birthday to her that I was able to send back, which was great. And then when I was over there with my family, me and my sister were at the mall Millennia, and she said, that's Bo Outlaw over there walking down this escalator thing. And I was like, no, it isn't. It's like, yeah, it is. I said, no, can't be. Anyway, it turned out that it was Bo Outlaw. I should have realised, really, because there's not that many 6'9" guys wandering around. So yeah, went up to him and had a bit of a chat. It was nice. He signed something for me, and so there's been a few pictures with Vooch and Oladipo when he was here. So yeah, I generally find that the players that we've had have been, quite approachable and willing to give a bit of their time.
Yeah. Have you done the Ultimate Lounge? Have you done that? The experience of that?
Yeah, I've done that a few times. It's I think it's absolutely great, the access that you get to players, and seems strange now when you see it on the games and people are obviously still in there, but they've got these massive screens up, so you're obviously not really getting the interaction that you might have paid for. No. But yeah, it is good.
So what's your best game that you've attended?
This is a difficult one. Probably I was there for round 1, game 2, 2009 playoffs against Philly. So the Magic had lost game 1 on a Iguodala game winner. And in game 2, everyone was kind of like that mixture of expectation that we'll win versus nerves that we could be down 2-0 and we're the 3rd seed and they're the 6th seed. Andre Miller absolutely killed us that game. We had Philly fans sat just behind us and to the right of us, which was pretty bad. But then everyone, I remember it because everyone played quite badly, other than Courtney Lee, who was absolutely amazing. I think he had 24 points, 26 points, and he just hit mid-range jumper after mid-range jumper and got us back to level the series 1-1. So that was definitely a memorable one. But if I can just mention another one, we were there the following year. We'd done some traveling around the States when we got engaged, and I managed to convince my partner to tack on a week in Orlando at the end of our traveling, as you do. And I think we saw maybe 2 or 3 regular season games. It was the end of the regular season, so we're all set for flying home. And we got in the car to drive to the airport. We started getting these texts from back home saying, I don't think you'll be able to fly home. And we were like, why? What's going on? So we got to the airport and said, no, I'm sorry, but you can't fly. You'll need to go back. So why? Oh, there's been this eruption. And we were there the time that the Icelandic volcano, whose name no one can ever pronounce, had erupted, and the ash cloud had stopped transatlantic flights. So it ended up with, I think we stayed another 6 or 7 days, which did mean that we were there for game 1 of the Bobcats series. So I remember being at that game and thinking, well, this is costing us a lot of money to still be here, but at least I'm getting to experience this. So that was pretty amazing as well.
Yeah.
That's a quality result.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
What year was that, cool. Neil? Was that 2010?
That was 2010, yeah. The Bobcats had, that was the year where we beat the Bobcats 4-0.
We swept them, didn't we?
Yeah.
The first 2 series.
Then we swept the Hawks, and then we had about 9 days off, and everyone was just like, we are playing amazingly. And then we played the Celtics, who were coming off a tricky series.
Yeah.
And I think that 9 days off, we just looked like we almost acted like the intensity had gone, just too longer period off. And we all know what happened, unfortunately.
At Bobcats series, I think DJ was their starting point guard at the time, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, they had Stephen Jackson was probably their best player. Gerald Wallace, I think, was played for them at that time as well.
Yeah, cool. All right, thank you for that, Neil. So next episode, we will be filming next Saturday, the 20th of March, and we're delighted to be joined by Orlando Magic royalty, as we've alluded to. So he's the franchise's very first player back in 1989. and we're all super excited. So that episode should drop on Sunday, Mikey, probably about midnight or so.
No, I'll edit it that night, and then it'll be up late night, Saturday evening. So G will be like, "Oh, friend."
Good stuff. So the week ahead, so we have 3 games. We play the Miami Heat on Sunday at 11 p.m. We play the New York Knicks in New York on Thursday at 11:30 p.m. and we play the Brooklyn Nets on Friday and their bandwagon fans at midnight. So I think Paul's got the first 2.
Yes, I'm not going to go on about the Heat. We previewed them last week. We've already reviewed the game. They're 4th in the East, 20-18 on the season, 25th offensively, which I still find bizarre. 4th defensively, and they are 9-10 on the road this season. They've won 3 on the trot, and they are 9-10 across their last games. 9 of 10 across the last 10 games. They've got Bam Adebayo, Avery Bradley still out, and Myers Leonard is away from the team for personal reasons. We'll describe it as. And then the Knicks, who are playing at the moment. They are 19-19 on the season, tied for 7th at 500 with Charlotte, but they've played more games, so they are 7th as opposed to 6th. 6-4 in their last 10. Lost last time out to the Bucks. When I left it, they were losing to OKC as well. They are 11-7 at home this season. I'm not going to tell you that I had to change this very quickly before we did this, because I'd done it as if we were playing in the Amway. Stats were all wrong. And then they've got Elfrid Payton out, Manuel Quickley, Austin Rivers, Mitchell Robinson, and Derrick Rose. So, but when we've played them the last 3 games in the MSG, the Knicks have won. So, time to break that run.
Yeah. Mikey, Brooklyn?
Yeah, Brooklyn on Friday, midnight tip-off. They've just acquired has-been Blake Griffin. and they're in the running. They're in the running for Andre Drummond, apparently, as well. So you'd expect them to be favourites to win the East if that happens as well. They're 25-13, second in the East with the 4th best overall record. They play the Pacers on Wednesday. They've got a day off before we play them on Friday. They're 11-7 on the road, 18-7 since acquiring James Harden. But they've interestingly only had 7 games where Harden, Durant, and Kyrie have all played together. Spencer Dinwiddie's out for the season. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot is doubtful for Saturday's game, so he might not play next week. Blake Griffin hasn't played yet for the coach's decision. And Kevin Durant is supposed to have another scan this week on his hamstring strain. So they get a clearer timetable when he's going to return. So I don't expect him to play on Friday. The Nets are first in points per game, 121, 26th in defensive rating at 113. We played them 2 weeks ago. And there's a bit like last night's game against the Spurs. We had a good first quarter and then we just fell away for the rest of the game then. So that was one we wanted to forget. The Nets have won the last 3.
Cool. Thank you for that. So just a quick recap of the predictions last week. So unfortunately, we did go 0-2 with Paul, the only person correctly guessing the week.
I can't believe I'm celebrating as losing.
Yeah, I know.
That's 2 of us in 2 weeks. Is that 2 weeks you got right now, Paul?
It is, matey. Yes.
That's right. G, how many have you got?
I think I've got 1 over the course of the season.
2, 1, and 1 so far then.
We'll have to go back and review them all though. So there we go. So Josh went 2-0, obviously incorrect. Mikey and I went 1-1. Paul went 0-2. So this week now, 3 games. What do you think then, Neil?
Well, if we're trotting out the same guys that we did last night, it's got to be 0-3. But I think AG will be back for the Heat game because I think last night was mainly just resting his knee. Sorry, not his knee, his ankle. So I'll say 1 and 2 with either the Heat or the Knicks being the win. I'll probably say I'll go for the Heat as the win.
Okay, cool. Paul?
Heart says that we can get 2 and 1. Head says it's 0 and 3.
That's quite a difference.
I know. I genuinely think we have got the ability to stay with Miami. I think we've got a good chance of beating New York. I don't see the Nets being much of a competitive game, to be honest with you. 2 and 1. Stuff it. Let's go for it.
Good man. Michael?
Assuming we get some people back.
Yeah.
Well, we've only played 2 games since the All-Star break, and we're already starting to think, well, there's only 34 of this to go.
Amen to that.
Yeah. I'm just going to go 0 and 3. And it's all hinging up. I don't even think it makes a difference if we get injuries back. Do you guys, I'm going to put this out as a question. Do you think the Magic are starting to embrace the tank? I don't want to hate that word. But they have to
You know my answer because I said it to you a couple of days back after. I think I said it as after the Miami game. That
was it the injury report? Was it when the injury report was? Was it when the injury report was released and it was just out and it wasn't questionable?
There was an element of that, but it was also how a little bit of the fight went in the fourth quarter. We didn't push as hard to get back into it. I didn't feel. Aaron Gordon, I think he went out during the third. Would you perhaps have not kept some of his minutes for the fourth quarter to be a finisher? I don't know, but I started to have questions around it then. Yeah. The injury report for the Spurs game made me think, yeah, this is starting to look that way. The lines that you see teams that are tanking were beginning to come out, weren't they? That we need to sit guys to give them some time to recover.
That's what Clifford said the other day, wasn't it? Which is exactly what tanking teams say and do. So, look, we all want a high draft pick and we want to get Cade Cunningham or one of these guys at the top of the draft to add to Fultz and Isaac and Vooch next season, hopefully. But I can't see anything else than 0 and 3 next week, honestly, because I think I was sat there watching that Heat game the other evening thinking, do you know what? I might just get it right this week. I was thinking up to like 3 quarters, they were playing well. We were toe and toe with them. And then the one thing I have noticed in the last 2 games is Vooch is playing frustrated, especially down the stretch, that when decisions aren't going their way, there's a lot of arms in the air flailing. And I don't know, it's difficult to say which way that it's going to go, but I'm going to go 0 and 3. I can't see us beating the Knicks on the road, and I don't think there's any chance of beating the Nets.
I can see us beating the Knicks. I generally can. And you've mentioned a long list of injuries there. Whilst we've got a lot, I can see possibly Evan, Terence Ross coming back. And Evan's in a contract year.
Trade.
So,
it's nasty coffee you've got there, Mikey.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's
not COVID.
Just a quick word on Evan. If the Magic want to consider trading him, the trade deadline's less than 2 weeks away. So it could do with getting him a few games before then, just so people know that he's not, because he's missed a lot of games. The back spasms went on a lot longer than you would normally think that they would. And now has he got a groin issue now? So,
or have they?
Or have they? Yeah, exactly. This is true.
He does have a very, very long history of injuries with the Magic, though. He's missed a lot of games. I don't think there's been a season where he's made a full season.
No.
Yes. So going back, I'll go 1 and 2, and I'll say we'll beat the New York Knicks. So have that, Mark Dobson, who's my friend, who's a New York fan. Yeah. So one and 2. So moving on, Paul's favourite part of the show, which is back this week. Hurrah! So Magic
Yay.
Trivia. So I have 3 questions for you. I have allocated you 1 each, but if you want to have a go as a collective, you're more than welcome. So what would you like to do? So essentially, it's going to be 5 clues, and it's guess a player. Okay, simple.
Go for it.
So do you want to do individually or as a team?
I don't
I'm happy
mind.
to have as much help as you want.
So let's do it individually then.
Go on
Right,
then.
Paul, this is yours. Okay.
Okay, mate.
Clue number 1. I was born on May the 4th, 1992.
Okay.
You can have a guess if you want.
No.
No? Okay. I play the shooting guard position.
Okay. Evan.
Nope, it's not Evan.
Okay.
Okay. 3. I played college basketball for the Indiana Hoosiers.
Come on, Paul, you should know this.
Come on. Yeah, that's surely.
No.
It's
No.
it's one that you've had difficulty pronouncing in previous podcasts that I've
One-
listened to.
Oh,
with
my
you
Lord.
guys.
One of many.
I'm assuming it's Victor then.
It
Oladipo?
is Victor Oladipo. That's correct. So yeah, so you got it after 3. So the 4th clue would have been I was drafted number 2 by the Magic in 2013,
I would have
and
got
the last clue would have been I wore the jersey number 5 in my time in Orlando. So there we go. Okay, Mikey, ready? Okay, question 1. I was born on the 19th of February, 1980. You can have a guess if you want. No?
No, go on.
Okay. I'm a 2-time NBA champion. No?
No, go on. Third
No.
clue.
Third clue. I played college basketball for the Florida Gators. If you don't get it on this one, I think you'll get the next one.
Go on.
I've got an idea.
Go on,
but
Neil.
It's not Jason Williams, is it?
It's not Jason Williams. No, that's not a bad shout actually.
He did play for the Gators, Jay Will.
He did, and he did win a championship as well, but I can't remember how many. Clue number 4. I won NBA Rookie of the Year in 2001.
Oh, Mike Miller. There you go.
Mike Miller is correct. And the last clue would have been I wore number 50 with my time with the Magic. Okay. Neil, you ready?
I am.
Okay. I was born on the 26th of November, 1970.
Oh, 1970. So what's that? Makes him what? 51? 50?
51.
50-ish. Horace Grant?
No, it's not Horace Grant. Clue number 2. I was undrafted in 1995.
Right, okay. This guy played for the Magic, right?
He did.
Okay.
I think you're going to get it after the next one.
Undrafted in 95. Daryl Armstrong?
It's not Daryl Armstrong.
Right.
Okay, clue number 3. I played for the Sheffield Sharks of the BBL in 97-98.
John Amici. Gotta be.
It is John Amici. Clue number 4 would have been I played for the Magic between 99 and 2001 as part of the Heart and Hustle team. And the last clue was I retired from the NBA in 2003 after 2 seasons with the Utah Jazz. So yeah, John Amici.
Fact of the day about Meach is that he's actually in the Basketball Hall of Fame for being the first basket of the new millennium.
Yeah. In Miami, wasn't it? First basket.
Yeah.
New arena as well, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Good that one, G. Good quiz.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Like that.
Awesome. Good stuff. So I got to do another plug. So don't already have NBA League Pass, please use our affiliate links so that you never miss a game. This will enable you to watch the whole entire 2020-2021 season. And this, of course, assists us with the running costs of keeping the website paid for, etc., and all the content that we bring. You can stay up to date with all Orlando Magic news, previews, reviews, and more by checking on our website at orlandomagic.uk.com. And please follow all Orlando Magic UK social media accounts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So thank you very much, Neil, for joining us this evening. I hope you enjoyed it.
I have, yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. Been a real pleasure.
You're welcome anytime. So until next week, when we welcome the great one, go Magic.